The first real test for the 1958 New York Giants came on November 2nd in Cleveland. Cleveland was undefeated and had a 2-game lead, but the Giants had the strongest defense in the NFL. All eyes were on Jim Brown, of course, who had already demonstrated that he was clearly the best running back in the league. But the Giants managed to hold Jim Brown to only 113 yards on the ground. A tremendous crowd in the old Mistake by the Lake watched as the Giants won a close one. It was a tremendous come-from-behind victory for New York, and it was the first time Cleveland had lost all season. In particular, it was this controversial passing interference call that gave the Giants the ball on Cleveland's 5-yard line late in the fourth quarter, which set up the game-winning touchdown. In the end, the New York passing game proved to be the difference, even though Jim Brown did break off one of his big runs. All right, the pressure's on us this time around. We're up against the Cleveland Browns, and this is the first really difficult game I would say that we have so far this season. As you know, we're 4-1 now. We're doing a little bit better than the Giants did in real life, but you know what we have coming up. So we'll go ahead, we'll change the sound around here, and we'll go ahead and get this one started off, huh? Now, the first thing we're going to do before we jump in is we're going to mess around a little bit with the team data and check out a little bit of what's going on here with this playbook. So this is one of the plays I'm kind of worried about, where I'm thinking I'm not so sure that I necessarily want to do this major sort of sweep around the bottom. I would much rather have a play that gets us sort of through the line a little bit faster, probably something like that. So we'll give that a try. And this is the other one that I'm wondering about, if we don't have something that maybe has a little bit less quarterback motion right from the get-go. And as you can see here, there's not really a whole lot for us to choose from. All of these are play-action plays. Probably want to do something like this, I'm guessing, something like a short screen pass. I'm going to go for this right now. You can sort of let me know what you think. Looking here at the rest of our options, I'm trying to think if we have anything else where we kind of have a bunch of guys going the same place at once and it doesn't really work that well. You know, this play only has 3 receivers, so I mean, we could do like a curl play if we really wanted to. Actually, you know what, let's go ahead and do that. Let's give that a try and sort of see how that works. We'll just sort of experiment with that and see what we can do. So the thing that I've learned over time with Tecmo Super Bowl is that the most important thing about play calling is simply making sure that you're getting rid of any plays that involve a whole bunch of motion before you can take control of your player. Because that almost always will result in you getting sacked if the defense chooses correctly. You definitely don't want that to happen. Now, I know that the advice that I found about that comes largely from people who play the game competitively. This isn't competitive other than the fact that I do want to beat the computer. But there's not necessarily anything like super competitive about this. Now, I'm guessing that they're probably going to call a lot of running plays, and there it is right off the bat, but they run it to Mitchell instead of running it to Brown. So interesting that they have 2 Brown plays and 2 Mitchell plays. You would expect that they would want to go to Brown almost every single time on the ground. If we're lucky, they'll pass a lot. If they pass a lot, then we're going to end up with a pretty good game, I think. Yeah, because stuff like that will happen if they pass. We have a really, really good defense, and so we want to make sure that we sort of take advantage of the good games that our defense will give us and then hope for a couple of breaks, and I think that we just got a break here. This looks like a really, really poor punt. Of course, we're not able to do very much with it, but let's go ahead and try here with triplet with this first play that we just put in and see, yeah, look at that. See, we get a nice hole right there from the beginning. That's a little bit more like it. Not that the other play was necessarily awful. Well, that one kind of fell apart. That was actually a pretty good play call in the beginning, but we weren't able to do very much with it. The truth is that play is actually technically a screen pass, but we've decided to turn it into something a little bit less. This is a play that has sort of a screen option. And we'll end up giving it off to triplet for the screen. We had a choice, but I decided to take sort of that choice instead of the other one that we had. We probably could have stood around the pocket a little bit longer if we really wanted to. Jeez, man, look at that guy coming. So they have a very, very good, I'm not sure which player that is, but they have a really, really good defensive player there who's able to blow up a lot of those plays. This is one of the things I've noticed here. Oh, what a catch, and that's the touchdown. That's what we've been looking for. Bob Shankler with what so far is the play of the season, and that gets us a 7-0 lead. Well, 7-0 assuming that I make this extra point, and there it is. It's in. What a catch. My goodness. All right. Well, that's a little bit more like it. That gives me at least a little bit of confidence. That way we know that we can score against their defense. The big question is whether we can hold the big guy back. And, of course, it would help if we could tackle Mitchell here when he's returning the kickoff. And this has been pretty poor. And we do finally get him down at, like, the 4-yard line. So I'm not really liking the looks of this. I'm guessing they're probably going to call a run here. No, they call a pass. So fortunately, we didn't commit too much. And that's a really, really poor pass. I'm surprised they would call a passing play if the quarterback's going to throw something like that. And here we go. Now we're going to have this run. And that is Jim Brown, and we have stopped him. So that brings up 3rd and 5. We'd be lucky, though, if they don't score here. And here he comes again. And you see him just power past me like it wasn't even there. And they're going to go for it on 4th and 1. So let's see if we can stop him one more time. Oh, and we do! And we get the ball with the big sack on 4th and 1 at the 1-yard line. And that might be right away the game changer in this game. I was not expecting that to happen at all. We're going to have to stay away from these running plays because they have this guy down there playing. I'm not sure if that's their end or if that's their middle linebacker or what, but he's incredible. And he's been beating our offensive line like crazy. It's like a piñata out there. It's crazy. He's ripping up every single one of these plays. So we might end up doing a little bit more passing today than I normally would like to. But, you know, if Webster's going to catch, balls like that, we might as well pass all the time. And then we do just a little bit of that Tecmo Bowl trickery to turn it into a touchdown, and that'll make it 14-0. So we make a mistake. We'll make a mistake on the kickoff. We allow a major run back on that kickoff that really should have been, down around maybe the 15-yard line. And we end up with the big stop on 4th and 1 at the 1-yard line, and then we turn it 2 plays later into 7 points in the other end. And I'm liking our chances here. So let's see if we can actually stop Mitchell this time, and we do. We stop him around his own 7-yard line, which is a little bit more like it. And now we get to sit back and wait for Jim Brown to bring the ball, and he does, and we've stopped him. 2nd and 11 now. That's the big thing that we're worried about. We're okay if they're able to beat us on the pass. It's perfectly fine. We just want to make sure that Jim Brown doesn't beat us. Because if he beats us, it's a touchdown. Man, this is O.J. Simpson. This is Bo Jackson. Yep, see, there he goes. And he got it. Told you. You could see that he got it. They didn't really need to measure that, but they measured it anyway. So he gets the 10 yards, and here he comes again. No, it's Mitchell this time, and we were able to stop him. So 2nd and 11 now. Apologies for my dog in the background. He's probably excited. There must be some animal outside. Yeah, well, that's what happens when we call a passing defense. And now they're kind of forced to pass here. We can almost sort of bet that they're going to pass. We'll just be over here trying to cover Brown. And we end up with a sack. Robustelli, again, Robustelli has been absolutely dominant for us defensively. So, normally for these types of games, the defensive players end up being sort of, like anonymous in a way. But Robustelli is a name that I know now because I've seen a lot of him. But we didn't get very far there. I suppose we can call another run and sort of see what happens, but not much has been happening here. Well, that was pretty bad running there by Gifford, so and it's a dangerous pass, and it's caught, and this is a little bit more like it. Now we're looking really, really good. Look at how far back in the shotgun he is. He's about 7 yards back. And Heinrich with that awful pass. I've kept Heinrich in here, by the way. He's been playing fairly well for us, so I haven't had any real need to put anyone else in. Even though I know that he wasn't actually the major quarterback for the Giants in 1958. We have a 21-0 lead. Frank Gifford again. And Frank Gifford, All-American player, and they were saying that they maxed out a lot of these All-American players, and I think it shows with Gifford. It's just surprising that we haven't seen Jim Brown really break one open yet. All he had was the one run, and for that one run, he got 10 yards. That was about it. I mean, if we're able to hold him to that, we're going to be doing really well in this game. So here we are up to halftime already, and this is, I'll be honest with you, this has been a game I've been kind of nervous about, but we've actually been playing pretty well. Of course, as you know, the problem with playing well is that you don't get as many views on YouTube. When we were playing horribly with the Ottawa Red Blacks, we were getting tons of people watching it, but now that we're playing well with these New York Giants, nobody seems to care. So anyway, that's just one of those YouTube things. Nobody wants to see you when you're doing good, right? It's all about, well, did you fail recently? If you didn't fail, what are you doing? You must be doing it wrong. All right, let's see if we can score another touchdown here quickly. There's the good pass to Webster, and he just misses it. And I'm perfectly fine with just passing every down if that's what they're going to give us. And they called another running defense there, you can see it. And this time goes the other way, and we have a 28-0 lead. 27-0 technically. Kyle Rote, I think that's his first touchdown of the season. And, I mean, we're more than happy to do this over and over again if we need to. So 28-0 it is. And this is the vaunted Cleveland Browns team, one of the better teams of the time. When you look at least how things were in real life, everybody thought that Cleveland was going to dominate the Eastern Conference of the NFL. And in our version of this, they've been totally dominated, and it hasn't even been close. Oh, baby, and there goes Jim Brown. That's going to definitely change the complexion of this game if they don't have Jim Brown in there anymore. I'm not sure who Carpenter is, but he's not Jim Brown, and that's the one thing that we really care about. I don't know if Brown was actually injured in the 1958 season, so there's one for those of you who are sort of the amateur historians to go look up, see if you can figure out any of that. And looks like they're going to keep... No, they are going to pass. They go into motion, and then our guy doesn't know what he's doing. We're able to recover, though, and the reason why we are is because the one player they have that's absolutely faster than us no matter what we do is no longer in the game. Of course, it doesn't help when we play defense like that. Maybe this Carpenter kid's not that bad. Yeah, they do this rollout again. And that was actually a pretty nice catch. There we go. I had to go over and get a couple of these yards back for us. This is playing defense like it's offense. Man, Mitchell just totally knocked me over, so so much for that. Real bully in there coming through the line. That's going to be a touchdown for him. So I think he kind of deserved that. I ended up about 10 rows deep into the crowd. Bobby Mitchell with the touchdown. It makes it 28-6. About to be 28-7. Unless we can get something impressive here. And we might. And we just miss it. So 28-7 it is, and we still have our heads about us. We have time definitely on our side because we're almost into the fourth quarter already. That, by the way, that's kind of what happens when you have it on juiced mode. You get that kind of defense on the kickoff. But you always have to remember, they will always leave something open for you, right? And there we had it right there. There's always going to be something that's open downfield. That was a pretty bad decision of that screen pass. We'll just wait for the fourth quarter, I think. See if this helps. Nope, that doesn't help at all. That was a pretty poor play by us, and now it brings up 3rd and 19. That's okay, we're about to get it back here. Maybe. I mean, look at this. Look at this. You can't even see anybody. When he caught that ball, you couldn't see a single Cleveland Browns player. Isn't that amazing? They were playing running defense on 3rd and 19 in a game in which we've done nothing but pass. So just NES logic for you, and that makes it 35-7. We really should be winning by a larger margin. I thought that this game was juiced, man. We got to find out who it was that made this wrong. We got to go have a talk with them. I thought that this was juiced. I thought this was going to be really difficult and it was going to be a big struggle, and we got to worry about, you know, the Browns and all this. And we're up 35-7 and about to win, unless we make some major mistake. And, you know, it might happen. I've made a couple of mistakes before, but it would have to be a major mistake for us to not win this game. That might do it, though. Dive! So it's not Jim Brown who hurts us. It ends up being Bobby Mitchell who gets his second touchdown. I had him in the grasp coming up the line, but it didn't quite happen. And that actually happens quite a bit here when you get really good running backs. But we're able to block the extra point, so that makes it only 35-13. And here comes desperation time. And normally I would run out the clock, but here I don't really trust it. They have a really good run defense. And we made the wrong decision that time. Trying to throw over the blitz, we probably should have just taken the sack. That time we get Mitchell for a loss behind the line of scrimmage, so we're doing all right still. This defense has bent, but it hasn't fully broken yet. Boy, I love Tecmo Super Bowl, the way the blocking works and all that stuff. We've had some interesting discussions in the comments about this, especially in videos that I have criticizing games like Madden and the way the blocking works. Blocking in this game and in this series is just better. It just works better than the Madden series. That's all I can say about it, because you have guys who actually grapple with each other as opposed to having guys just sort of stand in the way somewhere. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We get the ball back. And again, you know, the push-pull blocking hack that you can see in some of these, you know, user-created versions, that's the one that you want. That's an incredible development, and you should play with it. Yeah, how you like them apples, huh? Yeah, how dare you blitz me, huh? I bet you're not going to blitz again. Hey, you can blitz all you want. Doesn't matter. Touchdown. Alex Webster with the touchdown. Assuming all goes well today, hopefully we'll be able to play a little bit more football here. I've got to I've got to get things ready for another video coming up, probably on Madden 94, I'm thinking. And so there's a couple of other games we probably should play and at least have some footage of, so I don't look like an idiot. At least not more of an idiot than I look like already. Yeah, see, this is the kind... Ah, shoot. What an awful pass, man. Oh, that's that curl play. That's the reason why. Yeah, curling back, sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, remember at the beginning of this game when I was a little bit worried about this and thinking, you know, are we going to win? Are we going to be able to survive? 49 points later, I'm thinking this was actually a piece of cake. We had this in the bag all along. No problem. Tecmo Super Bowl's easy. Game over. We totally dominated. 21 points in the fourth quarter. We had 402 yards passing. 10 yards rushing was all, but we couldn't get anything across. Mitchell had 104 yards rushing. Meanwhile, Jim Brown probably had less than 10 yards overall, and he was injured. 78% completion percentage for Heinrich. Now you know why I'm using him. Alex Webster, 5 completions for 202 yards. So that's not bad. That's not bad for a day's work. We'll skip over here to week 8, and let's go ahead and get it going. So far, so good. I do want to play around a little bit here, probably at the very end of this video, with the standings and see if there really isn't something that we can see for some of these other divisions. Yeah, see, there are 3 different Eastern divisions. So yeah, we're at 5-1 now. Pittsburgh's at 4-2. Cleveland is at 2-4 actually. So there might be something going on with the way this is programmed. Cleveland is not playing as well as they played in real life. might miss the playoffs. Of course, the Chicago Cardinals are horrible, 0-7, while the Eagles there are 3-3. Over in the West, you have Detroit hasn't won yet. Baltimore's up on top. By the way, tie games, there's no overtime in this rule. That's why you have so many tie games. The Bears 3-3-1, and the Rams 5-1. Of course, the Rams had a fairly good team. Baltimore, though, is likely going to be the team that makes it in the West. So there you have it. We want to look really, really quickly at sort of what our leaders are. And it's Heinrich, who's the passing leader in the NFL. Doing a little bit better than Johnny Unitas. Not as many attempts, though, but the average yards is a bit better, 19.5 compared to 16.5. Unitas with a 74% completion percentage, so you know that good things are happening. In terms of receiving, Webster's actually fourth, which is surprising to me with a 42.1 average. We don't go to him that often. In terms of rushing, boy, we have to sort of go down a little bit here to figure out. There's Triplett at 12th. So Triplett with 5.8 yard average is not necessarily one of the best rushers. The problem, of course, is where is Jim Brown? And that's there he is right there at 7th. But that's been the problem for Cleveland, especially when he's been injured. In terms of overall scoring, of course, it's been Webster who has 13 touchdowns because every time we throw to him, he's wide open in the end zone. Chandler has the best punting in the league so far with 1 punt for 74 yards. Interceptions, we're not even close to this. We're not going to worry about that too much. Sacks, we're also not that close to this. There's Robustelli, but he's only got 7. It's Fulcher with the Redskins, who has 10. Remember, we lost to the Redskins. Punt returning, I know we're not really going to be close to this. Meinhardt has 7.8. Kickoff returns, however, King is doing okay with 19.2, second in the league so far. So there you have it. In terms of overall rankings, in terms of offense, total offense, we are actually not near the top. We are 9th. You go to passing, we are 5th, and rushing offense, we are 9th. So we're not really that good in terms of total offense. The defense, unfortunately, we can't see anything because things are glitched out again. So we're not going to worry necessarily so much about that. And we do have a lot of football left to play, so we'll see what happens later on. Anyway, hope that you enjoyed that. I certainly enjoyed that. I'm not sure if you guys enjoyed it or not, but that was a sort of beatdown that I really appreciate a lot. And I'll talk with you guys again tomorrow. Bye-bye.